Scott the Pie Guy back again for another video. Today we are making blueberry pie. Got some fresh blueberries here. We're excited about it. Gonna put a little spin on it, twist it a little bit different, but of course that's what we do. So let's get started. Got it mixed together a little bit already. The next thing we have is butter. Cup of butter, cubed up, nice and neat. And we're gonna use the stand mixer. I know a lot of people will say that's a sacrilege type deal, but we're going to do the stand mixer, make sure it's locked into place. And we're slowly going to incorporate the butter into this mixture. So I'm going to drop it in kind of cube by cube, very low speed. Okay, so we'll drop it in there a little bit, get these things going. Missed one. So it's starting to mix up a little bit there. Not very much right now, but we'll keep going. We're kind of looking for it to clump a little bit as we mix this in. As we get more butter in, it's starting, you can start hearing it, it's shaking a little bit, but ooh, there was a big shake. We got these cubed up. Again, cold butter, you don't want the butter to melt ahead of time. That's one thing I've learned in doing some of the research. So we got the butter there going. Once it starts getting clumped up, then we're going to add the water. And we want to add just enough water to get it so it can form a dough. And we'll get... Okay, so we got the butter cut into the flour. You can see the big cubes that I dumped in there, they're gone. So that's I guess where we want to be. Put this back on the mixer here. And now we're going to add the water. We're going to slowly add the water, ice water. Again, we want this cold. So it's ice water. Slowly add the water until we start to get the dough formed. So low speed again. Drizzle it in a little bit. Let it work. We'll put some more in. This is a half a cup. Hopefully it'll be enough. You can start hearing it work, so that's good. We don't want the dough too sticky because it'll be too hard to work with. But it's starting to form some nice good clumps in here that we should be able to make into a nice dough. Add the rest of this, and I think it's going to be okay. Let that churn a little bit more, and we'll turn it off. And undo that hook. You can see we got a nice clump of dough there. Next stage is we're going to be working the dough into a ball so we can form it into two halves and make the top and bottom of the pie crust. Okay, well, it's on to the next phase, rolling out the dough, breaking it into two parts, top and bottom. So we have floured surface that we can roll this out on. See, we put the mixer away, we got a nice clump of dough there. And really all we're going to do is we're just going to put this out, form it into a ball. Just need a little bit of the floured surface because I just don't want it to stick to the board. Get everything we can. But there's our dough. So this will be a nice pie crust once we get it all shaped up. Got a couple things we have to do. Like I said, we have to split it in to the top and bottom. So we're just gonna eyeball this here a little bit. I'm gonna have probably one a little bit larger than the other because what we're gonna do is a lattice top. So I don't need as much dough on the top. Next phase, we're gonna make discs, because we have to refrigerate this. So we're going to put it into a disc form. See right there, we got a nice little disc that we're going to wrap in plastic wrap. Put that one there. And we got to do the second one. Same deal, little flour so it doesn't stick. And we have disc number 2. That goes in plastic wrap. Shove that thing aside there. And now we're just wrapping this dough up so it can chill in the refrigerator. Got to chill for a couple hours We want this nice and not too gooey, much easier to work with on it. But we got 2 discs, top and bottom, all ready to go. Just pop it into the refrigerator here. Again, we're looking at a couple hours, so I'm gonna take a little break, go do some things, get ready for the next phase, and we'll see you back. Hey there, we're back. Got our errands all run, got a couple things from the pie, ran to check out a few things, grocery stores, things like that, ate a little bit of lunch, and we're ready. Got my first disc right here. Still have the flour on my cutting board. That's what we call it, a cutting board. And the next step is to roll this thing out. This is the, I guess this is the test of everything. So we're gonna roll it out. Set it down there. One thing I like to do is coat the rolling pin with a little bit of flour as we go. Just don't want to get anything too sticky. One thing I do know is you want to roll out from your cutting board. So we'll roll this out a little bit, see what we get. Got to make it large enough to fit in the pie pan. But we'll keep working it a little bit here, fill in some cracks. And it may take a little bit for us to get it in. So we'll just keep rolling. Okay, so we got this about rolled out. One thing I do like to have handy is the pie pan that we're going to use. See, we're getting close. And simply what I would like to do is I like to have this handy just to compare it to where it is, make sure there's plenty of edges around so I know it'll fit in. It's got to come a little bit over because of course it's going to sit down in the pie pan a bit. So I think on this one we need to come out a little bit more. But it does seem to be holding together nicely. I guess that's a sign of a good pie crust recipe, that it's not cracked, which that we would not want to have. So we'll roll this just a little bit more, and then we'll get ready to throw it in the pie pan, because we're that close. Okay, I think that's good. So we'll give it a go on the pie pan and see how it fits. Hopefully it works. Okay, so here's the next step. We got the pie crust, we got the pie pan, prepared it with a little bit of cooking spray. And the next one is to get this into that. I know there's ways you can flip it and all that, but I got a lot of flour on the cutting board, so I don't really want to do that. So we're gonna try and just drag it over. Hopefully this thing works the way we intend it to go. But I got the camera a little bit low so you can kind of watch what I'm doing, learn from my mistakes, because I'm sure I'm going to screw something up. There we go. Look at that. It fits in nicely. So next, slide this out of the way. We are just going to push this down a little bit so it sits in, kind of fill in the corners, the crevices against the side of the pan. And we will have our bottom shell. Put that down a little bit so it's not too thin on the bottom. And the good news is there are no holes in this. So that's one thing that I'm worried always about, that we get some kind of hole in there, juices run off to the side. But that's it. We'll do a little bit of trimming and then we'll be ready. But that's the bottom of the pie shell. So one down, one to go. Okay, we're just about done. Got this in the pan. One thing that I tend to do, which is probably some bakery reason not to do it, is I take my finger, dip it in a little bit of water, smooth out some of these creases. Again, I have no idea why I do that, but it just seemed like the right thing to do. I'm sure some baker will say, no, don't ever do something like that, but that's what I do, so that's what I do. Okay, we got that all smoothed out. Now that we got to cut some of these edges off, just a simple knife, go around the edge. Don't worry, we'll come back for this stuff. But this will help make the pie a little bit neater on the outside. It's falling on the counter for now, but again, we'll come back and get it, don't worry. So just trim this up around the edges. It's just a simple knife, nothing too much, because I got a flaky, tender pie crust. Okay, about done there. Okay, we got that done. Next step, set this aside. We're gonna get the filling ready to go, but before I do the filling, I'm gonna wanna do the top part of it first. So next will come we'll get the top part rolled out, ready to go, and then we'll come back and do the filling. Okay, so we have our second crust rolled out. This is gonna be the top. What this is gonna be though, is I'm going after a lattice crust. So I got my trusty pizza cutter. Not worried about the shape really of this because I know I'm gonna cut it in strips. So just nice straight lines, just kind of very, I guess I'm going maybe an inch strip type deal. And these are just gonna sit off to the side. It's not a precise cut by any means, just kind of rolling it up, seeing where we come. Hopefully these aren't too thick for what I'm trying to get done, but we'll see. So we'll roll these, get these a few cut. Once we get them cut, we'll just set it aside and we'll get to the filling, which is, I'm sure that's what everybody's after, is the filling part of it. But there we go. We got most of these cut. One more. Okay, we got everything cut. Now it's just ready. We'll set it aside and get to the filling. Okay, so now we're ready for the filling. And here's what we got. We have blueberries, a bunch of those. That's obviously the heart of a blueberry pie is blueberries, so we need that. Lemon juice, bring out a little bit of character. I'm not sure exactly why, but every time I looked, it mentioned lemon juice, so I went with that. Sugar to offset some of the sweetness of the blueberries. Cornstarch, very important, a thickener, because you don't want your juices and stuff running all over. And then last but not least, I have some lavender leaves. Got these from my friend Pam out of her garden. She pulled them. Last night we dried them in the oven. We had it set for 300 while we cooked some corned beef, but turned off the oven and let these dry a little bit. They're crumbled up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna powder them in a spice grinder so they'll be fine powdered, but that's the basic idea. We'll get it all put together and then dump it in the pie shell. Okay, so we have our blueberries. This is about 30 ounces of blueberries. Sugar and cornstarch mixture, quarter cup of cornstarch, 2/3 cup of sugar. Got some lemon juice that we're gonna add a little bit, not sure exactly how much, but here's the big dilemma. This is the lavender. It's ground up. I'm gonna put it in with the cornstarch and sugar mixture, but I'm a little bit worried. Not enough? Nah, why put it in? You won't be able to taste it. Too much? Is it going to be overpowering for the blueberries? So I'm not quite sure how much I'm going to put in there. My leaning is to start with, I don't even know. I have no idea. So I'm going to think about that one a second and then we'll get back to you. Okay, back where we started. So I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go, but I added 2 teaspoons. Hopefully that's not going to be too much. And it has a nice floral aroma to it. Like I said, I don't have any idea. So next step is I'm just going to put this in. I'm going to shake a little bit in at a time and then kind of toss it with my hands a little bit. I want it coated. I want it to coat the blueberries so that it sets up with both the lavender flavor. Whoops, that's the oven. Hang on. We're back. That was the oven preheating to 400, so we're ready. But I got a little bit in here, and I'm just going to toss it with my hands a little bit. Get some of this mixture all over the blueberries. We washed them, pulled a few stems off, but this hopefully will help set it up. Add a little bit more. Then we'll toss it one more time, and then we'll put one final coating on it. So the blueberries are getting coated with the sugar, lavender, and cornstarch. Hopefully the cornstarch does its thing and thickens it up. Otherwise we'll have blueberry juice all over. But that's so we got it all thickened up. We got it all coated. And then next phase is we're just going to dump this in. I'm going to drizzle the lemon juice over top of it is the way I decided to do this. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. But we got the blueberries. We're just kind of dumping into the pie crust here. I think it'll be a good amount as well. It looked like it would be pretty good. So there's that. Oops, got one straggler down in here. Smooth it out a little bit. And then So there's the pie filling. It's gonna settle a little bit, but that's okay. It looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but it looks pretty good. So we'll get ready for the next step, which is putting the topping on. Okay, final stages. We're down to a few things. We have the blueberry filled pie crust. We still have to add a little bit of lemon juice to it, and we have an egg wash. And then of course we also have the strips for the lattice cut top. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just brush a little egg wash on top of the crust, the shell in the pan. The theory of this, one, it'll help make it brown, but also the egg should help solidify the lattice top, I'm hoping, to the pie crust. We'll also crimp it down a little bit. So next thing is I just have to choose one of these. I'm going to go right in the middle and I'm going to choose one. Now, I am not going to put it in the middle like a lot of people, I think, tend to do. I'm going to push this down a little bit on there. But I'm going to go a little bit off center because I like the center of my pie open. I don't know why, just do. So next, I'm going to do the same thing going the other way. And I'm taking the longer strips, well, they're all fairly long, because these are the middle ones. We got that top one. Next, since this one's on top, we're going to go like this, and it's going to cross into that pattern. So we'll get that crimped down a little bit. Then now we get to the tricky part. That one's over, so this one has to go over, which means this one needs to go under. So we'll get that like that. And you get the basic idea of what's happening with our lattice crust. So I'm going to keep doing this, finish it out. We'll take a look when it's done and be ready to put the pie in the oven. Okay, we got the lattice top done. You probably noticed I forgot the lemon juice. So did I. We had to go back in, add some after we put a few on there. So the other thing I did is I took the egg wash, topped this with the egg wash, pinched the edges down with a fork just to get it to seal a little bit better. And the last thing we do before we pop it in is I have some sugar, some heavy granulated coarse sugar. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit. This is kind of a decoration thing. Try to get it mostly on the lattice. Just add a little bit of decoration to what we have going on to this. And get that a little bit all over. It'll stick to the egg wash part. Get some. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do it this way. We're going to spread it out, just dump on the bottle. So again, hopefully this doesn't make it too sweet, but I don't think it will. Just a little bit of prettiness on that. Okay, that's that. Next step, into the oven we go. So we're ready to slide this in. It's going to bake for about 40-45 minutes, about halfway through. I'm going to pull it out, put the foil around the edges so it doesn't scorch the edges too much. And the pie pan is mostly so I don't make a mess in the oven. So we'll see. But we'll put that in, close up shop, set the timer for 20 minutes so we can come back and get that thing wrapped in foil, and then we'll finish it off. Okay, we have it in about 20 minutes. We're going to stick it in for 20-25 more. Definitely some floral tones coming from the lavender, but got a little foil rim around the crust so it doesn't burn. So again, I turned the temperature down to 350, and hopefully that gets the juices flowing in the pie. But 20-25 minutes and we'll go from there. Okay, so there's a little bit of an issue. The blueberries do not seem to be gelling, so we're going to leave it in a little bit more, but I'm a little worried about the top burning, so I'm going to lay foil over the top of it. Hope that stops the crust from burning or turning too brown. But other than that, it looks good. Couldn't take it anymore. I put it back in. It still does not look to be popping the blueberries out, but I think you can, when you poke at it a little bit, you can see some of the juices down below, and the blueberries are definitely soft. But I didn't want to risk burning it, so decided to pull it out. It cooked for a total of about 55 minutes, and now it's going to cool a little bit, and then we'll cut it, see how it turns out inside, what it looks like. But we're done baking, and we'll see how it turns out once we slice into it. Chill it for probably 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. Not chill it, I mean just let it cool. So we'll be back. It's time. Have the pie done. It's set up here for about 3 hours. Now we just have to decide where we're going to cut it, see how it did. The gel seems to be a little bit better. We're just going to cut a little piece here, see what it is. We'll see how it comes out. Pretty juicy. You can definitely smell the lavender though. That is for sure. A lot of stuff is coming apart. That's okay though. We're good with that. Okay, here we go. And it oozes all over. I'm going to chalk this one up as not where we should have been, but that's okay. You can see the blueberries are running over a little bit, but again, not a big deal. Still going to be a decent pie. There we go. That's it. We'll see how it tastes. Now comes the taste test. It's still, you know, like I said, a little soupy. I got the ice cream out because I'm going to add ice cream later, but we got to try it without the ice cream first. It works. It could be a little bit stiffer. Maybe cook up the blueberries, add a little bit more cornstarch, let it set up a little bit. You get some of the lavender taste. Kind of comes in, and for me, it comes in a little bit as an after kick, but all in all, not bad. We'll try it again another day.